I'm Daemonxel, and it's time for your Eve Echoes weekly news update. But before we jump into the stories of the week, if you can just tag that subscription button and ring that bell, then you can stay up to date with everything that this channel has to offer. Okay, we have a lot to dive into this week with the Indomitable patch going live. This patch did push the servers back 2 hours, which granted us even more skill points for compensation. But let's break these down as they appear on the website. So we now have Corporation Citadels available to be built. And with max skills, each one of these takes 5.5 days to manufacture. These Citadels, when anchored, will claim that system of null space for your corporation and alliance. This is the first wave of sovereignty, so these Citadels will give a bonus of reverse engineering success rate 5%, material efficiency 1%, and manufacturing efficiency 1%. We also have the new Alliance Management mechanic, which will now expand an alliance from 10 to 30 max corporations. And also more custom corporation positions, bringing that total up to 10. Indomitable has also brought us some new fleet features. Fleets can now have up to 51 members and can have 5 squads and 1 commander. Added fleet commands, Fleet Focus Fire, and Go as Fleet. They've added a fleet log loot that can be viewed by anyone, so no more loot thieves. Added an option in personal settings that allows the game to automatically reject all fleet invitations. Added the function to share fleet card to all channels. The commander can now synchronize the command filter settings to all squads. There was also some additional new features that this patch brought to us. An event for new pilots to help catch up with their friends is now available, allowing new players to gain a lot of skill points for a month of Omega Combo. This is a great feature for the new pilot. Everyone gets something for this. The max skill points to get from this for a new pilot is 20 million. Anyone under that 20 million mark will get skill points. This 30-day login calendar will grant that difference divided into 30 days. To give this some more substance, my main was around 19.5 million skill points, and just by upping my 30-day Omega combo, this calendar is giving me an additional 462,000 skill points. I think this is a great way to get new players involved faster into the game. They've added star maps for all systems. Statistics, including sovereignty info and destroyed ship info, have been added to the star map. Players with criminal timers can no longer dock at a capsular outpost. So no more hanging outside an outpost for defense and quickly jumping back in when you're getting hit. The HP and DPS cap have been adjusted for these corporation citadels. Now this is what we talked about last week, where the buff to the overall defense and EHP of these new corporate citadels have been added. Take note that some group module effects can now only affect squad members. Mining belts and normal systems will start a 15-minute despawn timer after the remaining mineral volume drops below 30%. Stacked items can now fit into contracts as long as the total amount can fit. Adjustments have been made to the shuttle capacitors. T8 and above encounters now will have 1 less wave of enemies. No changes were made to the storyline missions. Rewards from these encounters have been slightly reduced to reflect the less time spent in combat due to having 1 less wave to deal with. Less time, so less ISK. Now just remember, these are your regular news encounters, not the missions where you use an item to spell on that mission. The blueprints for these corporation citadels can now be available for purchase on the market. Orders on the market page can now be sorted by distance. Thank the God for this one. It's the quality of life changes that makes games great. There's a new module, the Resource Extraction Amplifier, has been added to the Capsular Outpost. The Inertia Stabilizer and Micro Warp modules now have their own unique icons, and they did some nice artwork on these. There's no more confusing the prop mods due to the slight color change. The max limit for free training is now displayed in the skill page, and post-processing rendering efficiency has been improved. They added Alliance Management skills. The CEO of the Executive Corporation can now further increase the max number of corporations in the Alliance up by an additional 20 from these skills. They added a new icon design for inactive modules. After a corporation recruitment post expires, all players with recruiter permissions will receive a notification. Optimize the issue description field on the report screen. If you are missing corporation permissions, a detailed notification will be sent to you now. NPCs will now warp back to their original location if they're out of your aggro range. Now, there have been tests on this, and I believe the range is 250 kilometers. They have improved the upper left content display corner, added a second confirmation when choosing to attack Concord. Why would you? This isn't EVE Online. You should know by now how much power these Concord guns pack. Faction ship debris can no longer be reprocessed in order to prevent accidental reprocessing. God, I feel so bad for people who have been reprocessing Sancha Rex at this point in time. Switching screens will not close the fitting interface now. If an anomaly is currently being removed, even if there are players in it, then the anomaly will be removed after 15 minutes. So grab that loot quickly while you can. You will now be notified whenever you are removed from a corporation. Whenever a market order is filled, the transaction price will stay the same as the order placed earlier. A fitting plan can now be applied to the Capsulator Outpost. They added a Train Now shortcut to the skill tips. Tap it to proceed that training in the skill. In other words, tap that one, it moves to the top of the list. All Omega characters have up to 30 days of training queue now available. Now this one might be confusing because the size of your queue doesn't change. That bar on the bottom will still fit completely up once you have skills past 24 hours. You'll just have to keep adding skills until it says you can't anymore. They added a new animation to the skill interface, added a new font to the game. The corporation search in both contacts and recruitment will no longer be case sensitive. A reminder was added whenever planetary minerals are launched. They improved the resolution of the Android devices in ultra-high configurations. Whenever a Capsulator Outpost is successfully anchored, now only the pilot who anchored it is allowed to enter. Right after the update, the devs put out a feedback form for the patch, and Joseph consolidated a lot of the replies to take to the devs. Direct from our section on the Discord server, let's look at everything here and see what they're cooking up. Alright, auditing. It's determined that removing auditing will hurt the economy more than help at this point. Basically, the more actions we collect and determine won't be associated with scripting and bots over time. The more we consider reducing the audit system. Combating RMT. We've been optimizing our detection system continually and will be launching a more intelligent version of this in the near future for even more accurate targeting. They improved the weight claim system. Now they know that these haulers need more cargo space, and they know it's a high priority. They will consider releasing larger haulers at a later date. Destroyers being underpowered. We are open to modifying destroyers. Please continue to provide specific examples of why you think they're underpowered compared to other ships. We've used some examples, but the more we have, the better for our next balance update. Now, we also gave more input on this to Joseph, pointing out how they should have more high slots, less signature radius, and more speed. Currently, it's just better to fly a frig. Customer support. We're continuing to optimize the responses, though this still needs more time. People are complaining that there's too many steps to log in. The announcement page can now be checked so you won't have to deal with it again until new content is added. On Outposts, its power has been significantly increased since test, but please continue to provide feedback on this. The delivery system, we're aware of some of the flaws with this and may have to redesign and add a new courier system altogether. A lot of people are annoyed that after each patch you have to restart the game, and they're looking into this so they can prioritize gameplay over this for now. They know there's an issue that you cannot issue contracts on behalf of a corporation or alliance. They do plan on allowing contracts to be issued on behalf of corporations soonish. Concerning the icon filter and the UI while in space, they are aware they have a system for this, but it needs some further optimization, so it hasn't been included in the game yet. They feel that the overview filtering is too simple. They'd like to consider adding additional filters in the near future. Fleet deputies should be able to invite players. Due to security reasons, we won't add this. In the future, we plan on adding a type of fleet card invitation function to simplify the fleet joining process. The overview populates with neutrals when allies come onto the grid and then refreshes to remove them. At present, the reason for this is that the server is given priority to the information of the opponent's ship, and then the reputation information will be updated later on. They are looking how to streamline this for optimization. Bookmarks, set to be finished this month. D-Scan, it is scheduled for this year, but more specific timing will be revealed in an upcoming dev roadmap. The chat window issues currently scheduled to be fixed soonish. More content for industrial players. We will add additional content for industrial players this year. I suggest that we give additional feedback on this part as well. The chat length limit. Currently, the chat limit size is 1,024 characters. If you want it extended, please provide a more exact length. Incentives for making ISK in nullsec. They do plan on gradually increasing the ISK incentives in nullsec in the future updates. Holiday events, they will continue to optimize these with each new event. As far as the market goes, there is no plans on adjusting the refresh rate timer for the time being. The sort by distance has been added, and they are currently working on making the search requirements not case sensitive. The tactical overlay still needs more optimization before they feel comfortable releasing it. On top of all that, Joseph wanted more constructive criticism on the shield versus armor debate and why armor is in a bad spot currently. I'm proud to say that the carry-on call of this was heard, and leading the charge to make armor on par with shields was Kenneth Karinsky, Sarvin RPG, and Nina. Nina has been trying to bring the devs around to show how disparaging the differences are between shields and armor for months now. Hell, Sav made a video about it back in beta 8 months ago. Now, I'm not going to go into all the aspects of the debate. Let's just say it was walls and walls of text on how they can fix the problem. We will keep an eye out to see if the devs take any of this to heart. Time for your Eve Echoes market report. Plex is holding steady at around 930,000 per. Serpentis Rex have come down from 125 to 90 million, while the others hold steady. The Silent Alliance launched an attack on an Obsidian Elite this week by forcing their outpost into a held timer. The Silent Fleet number around 125, which included the Silent Alliance, the Mercenary Coalition, and Requiem. OBS was set ready to defend their outpost until the game-changing intel came across that they were also bringing 10 battleships, including 3 Nightmares. The inclusion of the Nightmares threw all the plans out the window, and the call to dock and let them take the timer was decided. Silent came in, pushed the timer, and made the call to freeburn home. This is where OBS decided to lay a trap. While freeburning back to CDZ, OBS laid out several warp bubbles in the hopes of catching stragglers from the main fleet. While fishing for stragglers, they caught 2 whoppers in the form of 2 rattlesnakes. The combined total of these ships are 12.4 billion ISK. Fun fact, this last one here is piloted by the same pilot who lost another rattlesnake a week or 2 ago to OBS. Friday, the OBS outpost timer came up out of reinforcement, and true to their word, Silent came back and took the outpost out. The attacking fleet of 200 was comprised of the Silent Alliance, Mercenary Coalition, and Requiem. Silent also fielded 11 battleships. The OBS Defense Force was able to field about 200 pilots, including friends from the Earth Clan Alliance. Fighting took place across multiple systems with multiple fleets. One thing that both sides noted was that tie-dye never kicked in, while swarms of hundreds of drones flew, causing blackout screens, lag, disconnects, and random warpouts. The 5.5 billion outpost fell after about 40 minutes of fighting. OBS was able to take out another battleship in this fight, and Macarial, valued at 8.4 billion. Obsidian Elite leadership is proud of its pilots for the defense, even though they had lost the grid, while the Silent leadership states that OBS is homeless again. This week, the new head of Silent Alliance has waged a social media campaign against Obsidian Elite that has raised some eyebrows, mostly to the one of the videos filmed while driving. This channel cannot condone reckless behavior like this. Please, if you're going to make a propaganda video or smack-talking video, please pull off to the side of the road first before filming. Now, you can view all of these posts on the official Facebook group of Eve Echoes, but be warned, there are a lot of them. Dune, Dead, and Sin corporations have officially left what was the remnants of the once Terran Federation and Fountain to strike out on their own and rebuild, but not before making some controversial waves on Reddit. The posts were a few scathing posts and a good music video. As I've said before, I have nothing but the utmost respect for those that I have personally flown with in these corporations, on CTAs and gang rooms, and wish them the best in their future endeavors and their rebuild efforts. With the exit of Dune, Dead, and Sin, Fountain now has a vast power vacuum to be filled. The remnants of TF are now rebranded as GPS, the Galactic Postal Service, and are currently fighting Pantheon, who has seemingly moved in, as well as the QC. Rumor mill is that Fountain will be carved up between the QC and Pantheon, with Pantheon taking the southern edge while the QC takes the north. The former Dead Citadel, Crypt, was finally taken out on Friday by EA and Pantheon forces. This kill has spawned yet more toxic propaganda posts across social media. Good to see that this Terran Federation dead horse filled of hate is still being beaten. Alarm bells rung out this week throughout the Golden Horde as it was robbed in a huge heist by the COO Arbor. She made off with $20 billion in ISK and around $68 billion in assets obtained from cleaning out the hangars. Arbriel came clean about the theft, issuing a statement that it was to make a stand and bring light to the allegations of misogyny to the leader Bojangles and the fact that no actions were taken when jokes of wife-beating, child rape, and racism were put out across Discord. Right after this message was brought out, it was swiftly deleted and Arbriel was set to kill on sight. Since then, heated discussions were had and attempts at sweeping it under the rug were taken. However, information leaked to Reddit and now the community has lost some respect for the once normal Horde. Apparently, the GHA warlord defends the child rape humor displayed in their Not Safe for Work channel as the discussion turns violent as physical harm to another member of GHA is issued. One can plainly see that the tempers have spilled over as everyone is dealing with it in their own ways. The entire event has sent shockwaves that are still rippling throughout the Horde. The kill on sight order has since been rescinded, however that has not stopped some pilots from placing a bounty on her via the neutral zone. Then again, turnabout is fair play, as the ones that initiated the hit have also had bounties placed upon them. If you want all the details and secrets about what went down, I suggest you tune into Talking Stations this Sunday, where Who's a Fish will be doing an in-depth interview with her at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. There were rumors earlier in this week of a possible Valhalla breakaway from Golden Horde proper, however these rumors were quickly quelled by Bojangles. Before the incident with the COO, Valhalla was also going through an officer restructuring as several have stepped down. Bo wants everyone to know that they will not be leaving GHA and ensures his pilots that they will endure. More news out of the Horde as battle lines are drawn for corporations allied in cash as pilots are told to choose a side. NSF is now caught in the Horde's crosshairs for taking an Arbriel as the war for cash is now on the horizon. I will be keeping a watchful eye on cash for what happens next. Out in Innsmother, NEEC has decided to start attacking Void. Between 2 days of attacks, NEEC has sustained almost 14 billion in losses. The fleets were comprised of faction cruisers, battle cruisers, interdictors, and light tackle. I reached out to find out if these were just roams looking for some good fights, or probing the borders for an eventual land grab. The Void member I spoke to states that they believe currently that it's only roaming PvP parties. Void defenses took only light casualties estimated in the millions, but not billions. What has been the biggest loss in EVE Echoes? Could it be this 300 billion Terra? Nah, I'm just pulling your leg. This loss was actually done on the test server, but it's still impressive nonetheless. However, these kills were not on the test server. The Mercenary Coalition has done it again and found an even fatter snake to kill. This rattlesnake is at 17.3 billion and is to be the highest kill in Echoes to date. But why stop with one? The MC gives us another slightly lower rattlesnake. The MC wants everyone to know that they are open for contracts, whether it be harassment, PPK, fleet escorts, or to help with SOV warfare. And since we're talking about kills, let's just jump into these kills of the week. We have Tumbleweed with this lovely 3 billion Phantasm, and it's always a joy to see them die. Honk, never one to disappoint, shares with us 2 big kills this week. First, a Gila for 3.8 billion, and next we have a Balgorn kill worth 6.6 billion. Both these kills were within an Inquisitor 10 site. The runner-up this week for a free Omega combo is Space Karen of the MC with this 759 million loot pinata. But this week's winner is Beantown Brawler with this impressive 1.6 billion Terra kill. Bean, get with me on Discord so you can get your prize of that free Omega combo. And that's our show. Now I know you need more news in your life, so please check out these affiliates, the New Eden News, Frankie over at Eve Echoes Radio, and the Echoes of New Eden podcast. That does it for me. I hope you all continue having a great weekend. I'll see you next week, and remember, we're always one vision, one purpose, one front.